Oh boy. It's not showing them live. What did I do wrong? Had to have done something wrong. Oh, there we go. There we go. Manager. Okay, that's working. Sweet. All right. How is everybody doing today? I mean, everybody that is 0 people. Yeah. Yeah. Friends, enemies, and those still under review. We're going to continue on with religions for the setting today. I don't know how far I'm getting today. I do have pest control coming through today. Checking out my my termite bond and all that good stuff. I forgot about it until last night, so that's on me. But it is what it is. I'm not super worried about it. Yeah, where are we? Where are we going with this? Hmm. The Hidden Faith of the Marathi. And we do know it's gonna be polytheistic, so it's gonna be a pantheon. It's them off of Aztecs and orcs. Even though we're grimdark, it's high fantasy. We're doing dragons. We know that much. So how many are we doing? Um. I'm thinking like this is gonna be more of an oral religion, passing down traditions by word of mouth rather than writing things down or even doing depictions and murals and everything. I'm thinking built up places, passing down by word of mouth, dragons. I don't know how many I want to include. I think I'll just start off with the number 8 and go from there. Because it's not like I can't plus or minus the number that I'm thinking of as I go. So yeah. Alright, the desert was born of dragons. Their breath gives life. Their blood gives power. Um, um, mm, 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 mm. Um, I am thinking of what I want to say here. What am I Is this going to be the first kind of priest that they have? Is this going to be the main dragon in the pantheon? Um, let's see. We're going with word with a Shalin. I kind of want to do that with the Marat too. Simply for the juxtaposition, and especially since it's an oral tradition, passing down as an oral tradition. So let's see, word, weird. So weird sounds like word. And it's also used in a lot of fantasy to be like part of magic. It comes from weave, aether. Call it the weird. It's a different path. Veered sounds like weird. Like veered off course, but you know what we can do? We can just make it a weird spelling. Now it's a completely different word and it's a proper noun. I'm kind of wanting to do something with like the Samsara. As far as a naming convention goes. I think that could be neat. So how about we just go with like Shy Sara for now. Now we have like a working name. And there's a I haven't really decided where I'm going with that yet. Like is the attribution to like the main oral tradition? Is it to the first dragon? Is it to the first clerical person in this religion? You know what? I think that's just gonna be the name of the religion itself. So how are we going about this? Oh, I can just look to the left, and I've already got my format to follow. The wheel of life, it's dragon, so the dragon wheel. I haven't decided on a number yet. To an elemental or physical domain. Alright, how are we doing clerical titles with this? Hmm. I swear I looked up like Aztec clerical titles. I promise I did. Oh, that's why I don't remember. They're fucking long as shit. Lamakatsky, Totek Lamakatsky. Uh, you know what? I like Totek. Um, let's see. A beer deck. Pull it into the name of the religion, Veerd, and then we'll make it Veerdek, which also is a lot like Verdict. Another culture where their priests are kind of also like their judgment, which isn't. It's not like you can really overdo that in fantasy. That's kind of expected for the most part. So it's a wheel tender. Um, um, priestesses. We're gonna make this a matrilineal religion, whereas our imperial government that we have that's taken over all the surrounding land is matrilineally based. The Marathi will be a patrilineal society with a matrilineal religion. No sacred text. None. The wheel is passed down. Oh, how do I spell matrilineally? Matril. Tril. Ineoli. So Ineally. Down matrilineally through ancestral storytelling rights. Yeah, that works. That works. Alright, how do I want to do this? I want it to be mystical, ancestral, power seeking. Yeah, that feels right. That feels right. Where are we going with this? Next in the lineup is core beliefs. The world is the dying body of the first dragon, and the you know what, let's capitalize that. First dragon. And the gods are merely fragments of its spirit. Mortals can form blood pacts with the dragons and their relics, granting boons or visions. Ancestors can serve as intermediaries between the dragons and the faithful. And the race itself is going to be somewhere between like orc and dragonborn when we get around to making it. So I want to bring reincarnation as a test. M dash. If one grows in strength and will, because if you don't work your mind with your body, then you haven't worked your body to work with your mind. They are reborn closer to dragonhood. Yeah. Well, we're gonna do practices and structure. Sacred rites are memorized instead of written. They are called scale songs. Oops. Face is fucking itchy as shit. Relics are worn beneath clothes. Dragon teeth, ice stones, finger bones, etc. Blood trials are held secretly where one attempts communion with a dragon shade in dreams. Not really gonna worry with architecture or expression, because they're being repressed. No, I think I think I've got the number. So for where did I? And the gods are merely fragment of his vision. I'm gonna put 4 here too. Gods and domains. Let's see. Let's see. How are we gonna name these? Vameza, the Coil of Storms. All right. So storms. How far should we go back? Should we go all the way back to like Sumerian Ball, where like he was storms, famine, and fertility? Or should we just leave it at storms, like sky and wind, and like maybe add like inspiration? Yeah. Sky, wind, inspiration. I really like the sound, like from Skyrim. I think that would be a nice nod to put like a sound in one of these names. So let's go with like Narthum. No, because if I go with Thum, that's not just a nod. That's like, so let's change to Thum. Yeah. Feel like I might be going in a direction we're calling them like coil. Like maybe they're not like traditional dragons. Maybe they're closer to like, or I should say, maybe not traditional Western dragons. Maybe more Eastern. Since I seem drawn to calling them coil, which I mean, Quetzalcoatl. Yeah, I think we're going in a direction here. Yeah. So what do we want to do with this guy? Volcanoes, fire, passion's pretty fiery. That gives us something metaphysical outside of the elemental for him. Oh, we do need a fertility guy. I feel like most of them are like goddesses, though. Like off the top of my head, the only male fertility god that I can think of is Baal. So maybe we just follow tradition here and make our fertility god a goddess. First one I think of is Cybele. Um, I think fertility. I think female. I think sharing. Shareth. Mother. Fertility. I guess shouldn't just be like for like people. I feel like it should also be for the land itself. Which also brings us to Earth. So fertility. Maybe silence. Um, more as like a abstract thought since I'm only doing three. But when I think of silence, I think of peace. So Earth, fertility, peace. Um. Let's do this one off of a color. Azure. Azure. Makes me think of ice. Which, yeah. But I feel like ice falls more under Vameza. It's time, fate, memory. Yeah, that works. And instead of going into expression, we're going to go into repression because that's what's going on in the setting. The Empire calls this faith Dracotheism because that's super fucking simple. And its practice is punishable by rebranding and exile. Because they want to keep the population kowtowed and keep them only under their own thought. Many dragon worshippers disguise their rights as artisan guild meetings or ancestor feasts. Sable Ink agents are trained to identify rhythmic speech patterns used to trigger trance states among their faithful. And I feel like this little bit of repression kind of ties it all together. It like colonial, missionary, indigenous, religious expansion and repression. Particularly the Christians under Roman rule. And I think we're just gonna go ahead and do a new page here. I don't think we're fitting any more on this page. Funnily enough. but we've got to move on to the Dazi now. And like I was saying a couple days ago, I think they're going to be communal. I think they're going to be more naturalist. I think they're going to be more about like balance rather than like actual deities. Like I think it's going to be focused on like natural forces. I think we can drop it down to like maybe three, with them being in the desert and being nomads. The three most important things to them are obviously going to be the main celestial bodies, which is going to be the sun and moon. I think they are going to idealize those as the same entity. Um, and make it the duality of the entity, and that is going to be the main entity. And then obviously the sand that's under their feet, and then the water that gives them life. I think that's how we're going to break this down. And I think the duality of the sun moon is going to be less of they are the same entity, but it's more like two sides of the face, because I think the sun and moon can be kind of like the eye of the world, um, offering like judgment and warmth. Mm, cause I was reading and I feel like this would bring in like a good call to like Berber animism, the pre-Islamic Arabian region, um, the spiritualism of like the Tuareg and the Bedouin tribes, and I feel like it would do pretty well to reflect like North American Hopi reverence for their spirits, and I feel like it would be good for the setting. So um, the forbidden religion of the Dazi. Threefold path. Ooh, threefold. No, no, no. Threefold. Yeah. I think it like just the threefold path. Like the sun and the moon are one entity. Sand and water. And I think that, yeah. So the celestial gives, that's our sun and moon. Um, the sand tests, because that's what gives you your obstacles through life, and the water remembers. Because you're not just like it gives you life, and then also like you give off some of it as well, and then it comes from the ground after it's dropped off of you into the ground. So I think that's kind of like a cycle of memory. Um, the triad blessing. Whew. Right. What is our format here. I'm just gonna copy and paste the format from the Marathi. And then delete. Why reinvent the wheel over and over and over and over again when I can just do this? I think threefold path is what the Ashalom will call it. I think the Dazi don't even have a name for this. Like, in all seriousness. Deities, I like I said, I don't think they should have personification. Is natural forces, celestial bodies, sand, water. I don't know if there's gonna be clerical titles, and that's not like me trying to be lazy. I think it should be like elders and doctors give blessings. No true priesthood. I will say I do want sacred text for this one though, but I don't want it to be traditional. I want this to be like oasis, waystones, carved sundial altars, a sacred dune path, like how the dunes blow a specific way, coming with the wind off the mountain after like the cold front has left the storm behind, because the mountains block the water from being able to go over the arid pressure areas just because the cloud ceiling is too low. But the wind passes through, and the wind passing through causes the dunes to blow in a certain way. And even though they start over and over again, and it's a new dune each time, they follow a specific path as they grow and get pushed. So a sacred dune path. Because if you ever get lost, you can put the wind to your back and know exactly where it's going to be leading you, even if you don't know where you are currently. I think faith alignment, naturalist, balance focused, deeply communal. I think if you have something and someone else doesn't and you don't need it, you give it. I think that's how it's going to work with the Dazi. Just loyalty above anything. Core beliefs. The sun and moon are the eyes of the world. Throw that M dash in there. Offering judgment and warmth in equal measure. which I have already stated I wanted to do. The sand is the spirit of, and like I said, I want the sand to kind of be like, it's what tests them, it's their main obstacle in life as they travel over it. So, spirit of hardship, endurance, and ancestral challenge. You're always trying to do better, go farther. The water is memory. Every drop, remembering every soul that drank of it and shed it in kind. Harmony lies in balance. Drawing too heavily on one force without honoring the others brings ruin. I just want them to be like a sensible people. Where did I go from here? I think I want practices and structure. You know what? I want ampersands. I want. Okay. How are we wanting to go about this? I am tired. And I know for a fact that I slept. So what are we gonna call this? Threefold offerings at birth, marriage, and death. Sunlight, salt, and water. The three things you need to live. Stone rings mark sacred sites. Not many. They are walked backwards in the direction of sundial shadows during rites. Sand chants. Use breath and do I want to do things with grain? I feel like food would be too scarce of a resource to risk wasting, even for well, I guess especially for nomads. Maybe salt though. We're in a desert. salt's pretty plentiful. Salt manipulation to enter spiritual trances. Yeah. Alright, let's go with how the Empire represses them. The Empire condemns this as desert idolatry? I think it's idolatry. Yeah. Banning the construction of stone rings and criminalizing the possession of sun-marked amulets. Many Dazi secretly maintain water memorial jars in their homes. Illegal but widespread. Hollowed caste members are often Dazi descendants. Oh, wow. The descendants further alienate. There. Further alienated by imperial doctrine. Fucking words, man. Today is not my day. But yeah, I think most Dazi are going to be hollowed with almost little to no hope of going further, because like I said, I want them to be like an actual bestial race, like somewhere between human and canid. But I think the way we've got the repression set up and core beliefs and everything, like everything together, I think has a good historical parallel for like the Roman destruction of the Druidic groves in Gaul and colonial Spanish destruction of like Incan temples. I think we got some good parallels and callbacks there. I think that is good enough. So I don't know if I want to like write this down, but I'm trying to think of how to generate. You know what? Actually, let's. Oh, excuse me. Damn. Religions. Let's go ahead and put this up here. The Imperial Faith. Let's bold and capitalize. Justifies not only conquest but cultural erasure, since it is kind of based off Islam, and that's what we're seeing in America, especially in the Dearborn area right now. It's yeah, it is. So it's common for old shrines to be converted. Their dragons statues shattered. Their sun altars paved over. Kind of like how the Dearborn area is currently renaming streets after suicidal jihadists. So yeah, there's that. Many. You know what? We don't need to bold this. We've discussed this. The Emberbloods believe heretics must be reflamed. Just killed, but spiritually cleansed through suffering. Rebel groups often blend all three religions, creating syncretic heresies that the Empire sees as especially dangerous. Some Sable Ink defectors come from the Marat or Daz casts and now serve as flame breakers. Renegade priests trying to not calm, reclaim lost rights. All right. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to take this out and I'm actually going to move it here so that it's not coming up into a new page. I think it's time to revisit the Ember Road now. So I'm gonna come back up here to the Ember Road, and I believe I want to, since I'm talking about reclaiming rights, base it off the Ember Road, so the Ember reclaimed is gonna be our resistance. Yeah, it is a resistance of flame and shadow. And you know what? I want the resistance to be led by an Ashalan. I really do. I think it is the most slap in your face thing that you can do. For this setting. Oh, give me a moment. Ban. Not a fan of bots. Not a fan of bots, especially the ones that are trying to sell view bots. Twitch, you're supposed to be getting rid of those. But I guess you guys would just rather push terrorist propaganda. You know, fun shit. There is no silence where there are whispers in the sand. Sang past among the ember reclaimed. The ember reclaimed are decentralized. What are a decentralized insurgent coalition of dissidents, escaped slaves, surviving mages, exiled Radi, priestesses, Dazi's son prophets, and even defected Ashalan soldiers. Holy list. They fight not only to bring down caste system and the Ashalan regime, but to protect and preserve the memory of the cultures it has tried to erase. Origins. I will be back in just a minute. I'm gonna stretch my legs, use the bathroom. I've been going for about an hour now. I won't be too terribly long. Ugh. Ugh. Come on, Axel. Come on. Alright. Back. Got me some water. Check on the dogs. Whew. Alright, so origins. I'm thinking this has probably been around as long as the Empire has. I think formed from the remnants of Marathi and Dazi resistance groups after the Blood Purge. That's a good start to ow, fuck. Strengthened by surviving members of the mage orders who refuse to bow to the Ashalan sanctioned Phoenix cult. Unified by a shared belief. The desert belongs to all who endure it. So let's at the organizational structure. I kind of want to do some fractured cells, kind of like inspired by Zapatista rebel autonomy. You know the communities in Mexico and how they're connected through coded, like I want the cells to be connected through coded Sanskrit glyphs, like oral passwords. This one might be a series of bullet points. Connected through, what as I said, it was coded Sanskrit glyphs and what was it, oral passwords? So the Balkan resistance networks during World War II didn't really have like a hierarchy. It was like they like rotated their elders by consensus. So it was less of a hierarchy and more just at this time these people are in charge, but they're also like not actually in charge. But then I feel like that takes away the ability to give really good NPCs. We'll roll with it for now. Hierarchical. Rotating among speakers. Trusted elders or experienced rebels chosen by consensus. Consensus. And I also need some like high fantasy tie-in. So uses stolen divination scrolls and enchanted calligraphy to feed false information to the sable ink. Oh man. Where do I want to put this next part? Because this next part, and I know the page is kind of breaking a bit. There's no space for a third column, but it's creating one. It's also going to create a fourth and a fifth before I actually re-edit the format of this page. Otherwise, I'm going to be re-editing the 3 pages after it format-wise over and over and over and over and over again as we add more to the Ember Road, because we're going to put the actual Ember Road in here now. We're going to start doing like places in the Ember Road, like places where like smugglers would meet up and things like that. I think we're probably gonna bounce back to the Ember Reclaimed and do some sort of like symbols and practices. We'll cut through, do some like escape and smuggling routes, and then I think I want to start getting into like the big NPCs, like the Empress, her council, and things like that. I don't know how far necessarily we're gonna get today. We might not get all the way to NPCs today. I might do the Empress and her council tomorrow. Yeah, no, I think I'm good to finish like the Ember Road stuff today, and then we'll start on NPCs tomorrow. Cause like, I want to do the Empress, I want to do the Council, even though you're probably never gonna run into those specific NPCs. I think it's important to set a tone, for us to like create how things happen, especially once I get to the point where we start creating the adventure path. Something happens, like the people in charge, how would they react to it? That's gonna decide what happens, so that it kind of flows and makes sense with the NPCs. But after I do the council, I think I'm gonna also do the main NPCs for the Ember Reclaimed. And then I think we're good to start working on player options, like starting with races. So I'll probably do... I'll finish out the Ember Road today. I will do the biggest of the NPCs, like all of our Empire and all of our Resistance leaders tomorrow, and then next week I'll start on player options. I think we're gonna start with races because we need to do a Shawan, we need to do Marathi, we need to do Dazi. All of those are gonna need like math. Gonna need to do math, gonna need to do a little bit of extra creating culture for the people, not just like their religions, but like the actual culture. Because like with the Dazi being nomads, and like a naturalist community, I want them to be at least partially like based on like the Mongols. But after I do races, I guess it'll be time to start working on subclasses. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I still got to like finish out like the setting itself, right? So let's finish the Ember Road today, NPCs tomorrow, and we'll start working on the stuff that needs math next week. Because I am not in a headspace for math right now. Math. That is my bane. Math is my bane. But yeah, okay. Back to the Ember Road. Where am I? Obviously putting this above the Ember Reclaimed. I kind of need to start working on the Ember Reclaimed before I started working on the Ember Road, though. Because I needed to know what direction I was going in for our literal underground railroad type thing. So you also got to remember, even though this is going to be like a lot of the hollowed, a lot of the rebranded, the Ember Reclaimed itself, there's also going to be a lot of Sable ink going around down here. So, there is an empire beneath the empire. Its roads run hot with rebellion. The Ember Road is a vast, shifting network of forgotten tunnels, aqueducts, dry cisterns, and half buried ruins. And this is a great spot for an M dash. Also gonna fix the word ruins. Many dating to the early Dazi kingdoms. I like thought of like they're nomads now, but they didn't used to be, because like they're descendant of both like lycanthropes and humans, and that's how they've come to this point. These paths allow safe passage for fugitives. Banned texts, sacred relics, and sometimes entire families. And we do know, because we've already created actual cities for that, or a city, technically, like a black market type city. With enough practiced mages that they can scramble whatever the Sable Ink throws at their way to try to infiltrate. Which, of course, the Empire wouldn't know about, because the Sable Ink works autonomously, and they can't exactly go to the Empress and be like, hey, we're failing. So, ultimately, they're safe-ish. A big-ish. Let's create way stations, and these are gonna be like small oases or like broken shrines now blessed with illusion wards and guarded by ember reclaimed scouts. Oops. Sand markers? Coded glyphs. I see you looking at me. Sweet Rosie. Coded glyphs etched with elemental ink. Visible only under moonlight? Yeah, that feels like Underground Railroad stuff. You know what? Moving waypoints. I think that's different from waypoints or way stations. Smugglers rotate the locations of key drop points every 10 days. 10 days, because I don't feel like spelling out the fucking number. To stay ahead of the Sable Ink's augurs. And that's kind of inspired by the cartels and what they do with their coyotes, where they change where they go each time when they, human traffic. The Library of Broken Tongues? Yeah, I like how that sounds. They burned our books, so we learned to speak in silence. Hidden in the heart of Marashkar? I think that was the name of the city. That was the name of the city, right? Marashkar. Yeah, we had Marashkar. I want this to be in the Whispering Quarter. I want it to be hidden in plain sight. Um, I want it to be hidden under the vault of dust in the Whispering Quarter. Um, I had to write that one down because my mind is starting to frazzle out on me just a little bit. I'm fucking hungry. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so where are we? Hidden in the heart of Marash Cars, Whispering Order, just below the Vault of Dust. Oh, you know what? What if it's not even hidden? It's literally in plain sight. Upstairs from the Vault of Dust. Under the facade of a state sanctioned language academy lies a covert den of knowledge. The Library of Broken Tongues. Great time to have thieves' cant. Surface disguise. Oh, where are we? Yeah, we're up here. We're up here. Like right in this area. Publicly registered as a school for interpreting Echelon legal decrees and holy edicts, because you know somebody's got to translate it, because only some castes are able or are even allowed to learn to read. Not only learn like the state script, but learn allowed to learn to read it all. So somebody's got to translate it into something that like a town crier can read. Operates under strict cast supervision. Let's throw an M dash in here. Its staff members are all of the lower scribe caste. True purpose. Within the shells of the school are banned texts, ancient Marathi scrolls, Dazi water maps, and unsanctioned grimoires. Serves as a central intelligence hub for the Ember reclaimed in the... Oh, where are we putting this? Where are we putting this? I kind of want this to be central, like north central, because I don't want the capital to actually be the heartland. So you know what? This is going to be the heartland. Uses coded poetry and double double meaning parables to pass information. Yeah, we're just gonna go with thieves' cant here. Kind of like how the Jewish scholars preserved forbidden text when they were occupied by the Romans in 2nd century Judea, and how the Underground Railroad used coded slave songs. Yeah. Yeah. Being said, I think we're actually safe to go ahead and do a new page now. We're going to put it just above the Ember Reclaimed. If I can find, there they are. Yeah, there we go. That was perfect. Partially because I'm about to start writing in them again, so I would like for you guys to be able to see. So where are we going? Where should I put it under here? Cause we need to like add like symbols and practices. Oh. I want ampersands. What do we want? How about a scorched feather? Symbol of the Ember Reclaimed. A blackened phoenix feather. Half burnt, like it's in the process of dying. Drawn subtly into graffiti, embroidery, or even children's sand games. Let's do an ash wine ritual. Rebels drink bitter tea brewed with sandroot and ash. You know what? Phoenix ash in quotations. It's just ash. It induces painful visions, M-dash, memories of the conquered cultures, used as a rite of memory, healing, and initiation. And I want this to, like, what I would like to do with this is make it obvious that this isn't the first time that the Empire has, like, conquered other kingdoms. Like it happens, they conquer a kingdom, then over time they get smaller, de jure drift as they start breaking apart, and then someone comes along again and reconquers, and that's the cycle of the three kingdoms. Like the Ashalans always wind up reconquering everybody. Like it's a cycle. Echo songs, because I want the leader of the resistance to be an Ashalan. Like, I want the actual leader of the resistance to be, like, an Ashalan who was in line for the throne when the Empress kicked it. Like, not like the Crown Prince himself, who I think is going to wind up being on her council, but, like, someone like 6th in line, not liking what he's seeing, but is also like direct blood to the Empress, and then he defects and becomes like head of the rebellion. Shit, I might just make him like the big bad guy because I can. But yeah. Resistance messages hidden in folk songs. Merchants. Oops. Sing them to bless trade caravans, but they're really passing along intel. I need to make some actual smuggling routes now. That could be annoying. Back up here though. Oops. Because that's what it is. It's trafficking. It's, yeah. Let's see, what am I doing for the main routes? Western Main through, yeah, has it? Is that, yeah, that, you know what, I think that's where I'm gonna start. The worst place is where I'm gonna start. Why isn't this doing what I want it to do? Let's, and NBSP semicolon, that's not doing what I want it to do. Oh, there we go. So it needs 1, 2, 3. It needs 4 before the hyphen in order to create a bullet within a bullet. Okay, cool. That is a thing I now know. And that is weird. That is weird. I broke my code. Oh dear. You know what? When I put a letter, it fixes itself. So I'm just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna roll with it. Smugglers, embed, grain merchants. Embed grain merchants. Embed with grain merchants heading to. Well, shit. I've been thinking of what I want neighboring kingdoms to be, but I think the most prominent neighboring kingdom isn't going to have a direct border. I think part of what's going to be going on with international relations is when asylum seekers go out, they don't stop at the countries just to the side. Like, they don't stop at the countries directly next to the border of the Shaolin Empire. I think they go out farther. And I think they've been so entrenched in that culture for so long that they start trying to change those countries that they wind up staying in. So I think I want to go with like Rothschild Kingdom, but that's not going to be like the direct border country. So I think I'm just gonna random name, because if they're not stopping there, that country doesn't really matter. Dazi naturalists use their knowledge of the stars and dune shadows to guide at night. In Al Hadar? Oh, no. Stop. Stop. Okay. Closest city within borders of neighboring country outside of imperial control. Our next one. We're gonna call this the Southern Cut. This is underground. through old aqueducts and under salt flats. Travelers must cross through a cursed Dazi tomb, rumored to be haunted by water spirits. Give me a place to make some undead. Exits through the dead gate. A crumbled Marathi fortress taken over by ex-slaves. Turned ember reclaimed militia. Yeah. And I think this last one we're gonna call the High Flame Route. Through Teth Areem. Woo! Because I haven't made these dangerous enough yet. Used only for high value targets or sacred texts. Uses noble cast disguises, forged documents, and Phoenix blessed perfumes to conceal magical signatures. Ordinated ahead of time by a double agent within the Sable Inks lower ranks. I feel like that would be a good way to echo how there were dissidents within the Stasi and KGB and how they sabotaged operations. But yeah, that is where we are, and we literally ended right at the end of this page. That is awesome, and I think we've got enough that I'm gonna start on NPCs tomorrow. And you know what? I'm gonna think up all the NPCs I'm gonna need, and I'm going to give them names, because names is one of the hardest parts. So even if it winds up not being like the actual name that they go with, I would at least like to have a working name coming into this, so I'm not spending 10-15 minutes on each one. Well, this word means and this word and combining and so I'm gonna come in with names. But yeah, I think this is where I'm gonna end it for the day. So remember, guys, stay weird. Oh, I can't use that. Fuck. I'll